August 13. 582. Tiberius II, Emperor of Constantinople, died. His character was conspicuous for humanity, justice, temperance and fortitude. 587. Radegund, the Queen of Clotaire of France, died. At the age of 18 she renounced paganism, and was celebrated for her personal charms, and devotedness to religious duties. 875. Louis II, King of France and Emperor of Germany, died. He was a brave and virtuous monarch. 1415. Henry V of England sailed for the conquest of France with a fleet of about 1,300 vessels, and landed his force at Harfleur on the second day following, consisting of 24,000 foot and 6,500 cavalry. 1482. Sixtus IV Francis Albecola, Pope, died. He was the son of a fisherman at Geneva, became professor of divinity at Padua, and rose by degrees to the papal chair. 1521. Cortés retook the city of Mexico, assisted by 10,000 Tlascalans, and an innumerable host of other Indian allies from the neighboring nations, whom he had attached to his service. It was not, however, till after 75 days of fierce and almost daily fighting, that he accomplished his victory. On no occasion did Native Americans so bravely oppose European troops, but the superior discipline of the Spaniards carried the day, and thus a daring adventurer, regarded and treated by his countrymen as a rebel, after a bloody struggle, gained possession of a country which for more than 3 centuries formed one of the brightest gems in the Castilian crown. It is computed that during this siege 100,000 Mexicans were slain and 50,000 died of sickness and famine, the inhabitants being ordered to leave the city without arms or baggage. The 3 roads leading from it were full of men, women and children, in the most wretched condition, for 3 days and nights, seeking an asylum in the open country. The city contained at this time 50,000 houses. 60 dangerous battles were fought, in which 100 Spaniards were killed, or taken and sacrificed, and some thousands of the allies slain. 1535. Hippolyto de' Medicis, an Italian cardinal, died. He possessed great talents as a negotiator and military man. 1553. The chaplain of Bishop Bonner preached a sermon at St. Paul's abusing the administration of the late Edward, whereupon the people very much abused him. But he was rescued by 2 Protestant ministers. 1587. Manteo, a friendly Indian, who had been to England, was baptized, according to a previous order of Sir Walter Raleigh, and in reward of his faithful service to the English, was called Lord of Roanoke and Desamongapug. 1636. De Vries, who had been 2 years on the coast of America, with a view to settling a colony, entered on his diary this day, that he requested Wouter Van Twiller to put Staten Island down to his name, intending to form a colony there, which was done, and 2 days after he sailed on his return to Holland. 1660. A proclamation was issued by Charles II against dueling. 1667. Jeremy Taylor died, an eminent English theological writer and controversialist. 1704. Battle off Malaga, between the British fleet of 33 ships of the line and several frigates, Admiral Rooke and Cloudesley Shovel, and the French fleet of 54 ships and 24 galleys. The action continued all day, and at night the French bore off. No vessels were taken by either. 1743. Francis Pack died, an eminent English antiquary, biographer and critic. 1762. Cuba surrendered to the British. The booty was great. £3 million in specie, large quantities of goods and munitions of war, 9 ships of the line and 4 frigates. It was exchanged into the hands of the Spanish again the next year for the Floridas. 1775. Washington informed Congress that the whole stock of powder in New England amounted to no more than 9,927 pounds, about 9 rounds to a man. Although this information was communicated to the British by a deserter, they could not believe it possible that the Americans possessed such consummate assurance as to continue to invest them in Boston, while so destitute of ammunition. 1778. The Languedoc of 90 guns, Count d'Estaing's flagship, having lost her rudder and masts in the storm of the day before, was attacked by the British ship Renown, 50 guns, which was beaten off. At the same time a British ship of 50 guns attacked another of d'Estaing's ships, of 80 guns, having only her mainmast standing, but was also beat off. 1782. Henry Louis Duhamel died at Paris, eminent for his knowledge of mechanics, agriculture and commerce. 1786. Gilbert Stuart, an eminent Scottish historian, died. 1794. Battle of Bellegarde, between the French and Spanish. The action was a severe one. Both claimed the victory. 1806. Miranda abandoned his conquests on the Spanish Main, and sailed to Aruba. 1808. The French in the night raised the siege of Saragossa, in Spain. It had been most nobly defended since July 2d, by General Palafox and the Countess de Breda, who raised a company of ladies, that exposed themselves to the greatest personal dangers and fatigues. 1810. James Francis Menin, a French general and politician, died. He was in the employ of the National Convention and of Bonaparte. 1812. The British sloop of war Alert attacked the United States frigate Essex, Captain Porter, and after an action of 8 minutes struck her colors with 7 feet of water in her hold, much cut to pieces and 3 men wounded. The Alert had been sent out to capture the Hornet, and mounted 20 18-pound carronades, and had 130 men. 1817. John Beale, aged 87, a member of the Society of Friends, died at his residence in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, in the same house in which he was born, having never resided in any other. 1819. Just after a brilliant meteor, a mass of gelatinous and very fetid matter fell at Amherst, Massachusetts. 1822. An earthquake devastated the greater part of Syria. It began about 9:30 in the evening, and in 10 or 12 seconds, Aleppo, Antioch, and every village and detached cottage in the Pashalik of Aleppo, and several towns in the adjoining territories, were entirely ruined. There were 20,000 people destroyed by it, and as many more maimed or wounded. 1826. Laennec died, author of the auscultation system of ascertaining diseases of the lungs. 1838. John Farmer, an American archaeologist, died. He published several works relating to the early history of the country, which evince great patience and industry, and bring to light many important facts which would have perished otherwise. For some time previous to his death he was engaged in arranging the state papers in the public offices at Concord, containing the old province and council records, and revolutionary papers, by supplying omissions, transcribing papers that were scarcely legible, and having them arranged and bound. The state of New Hampshire has a very complete set of its early records. 1841. J. B. Ricksonville, principal chief of the Miami Nation, died near Fort Wayne, Indiana, aged 80. He is said to have left $200,000 in specie, besides immense quantities of valuable real estate. 1842. Thomas P. Emmett, son of Thomas Addis Emmett, and a contributor to Silliman's Journal, died in New York, aged 47. 1851. The people of Litchfield County, Connecticut, celebrated the 200th anniversary of its settlement. 1854. General Paxson died at his estate of Joey Arches, near Metz, aged 72. He was renowned by his connection with the artillery, and especially with the celebrated gun which bears his name. 1854. At Mauriceville, Kentucky, a powder magazine, containing 800 kegs, was fired, and the explosion caused the entire destruction of 13 houses, involving a great loss of property.